And hello, I'm your host, Sensei Pong, and welcome to the Sensei Pongcast, the podcast, Coastcast, John Costa. Anywho, so, yes, I've decided to start up a podcast haphazardly. Not like anything real serious at the moment, but if it gains steam, I might start up a SoundCloud account and start posting everything there, so y'all can actually have some reliable stream of service for that. But in the meantime, yes, I am on WordPress, and I apologize. So this is a gaming podcast where I talk about things and games I've been playing and all that good jazz, and maybe some gaming news, maybe some gaming debate. Ooh, if there's scandals, yay, everybody loves that. Not really. Anywho, yeah, I'm Sensei Pong. I run a YouTube channel. If you came here because of the YouTube channel, shazah, that's awesome. Yo, if I can figure it out, you can find me on iTunes. If you might be able to find me on some iPod apps at the moment. You can find me on my WordPress, and there are links down below in the description for all you YouTube watchers out there. So anywho, in the meantime, let's just go over what the format is. I actually wrote this out, so I'm not just like blabbing on and rambling for like 30 minutes or an hour or however long this takes. There are going to be some kinks, so that I'm going to have to work out. This is my first time. Here's today's little agenda. Awkward pause. Cut that out. Personal editing, no. Anyways, yes. Here's my little agenda for this podcast. We're going to start off with games that I've been playing and all that good stuff, the gaming news. And because of the Nintendo Switch, I figured, okay, this is a good time to just start a podcast. It gives me something easy I can talk about. Some big news, some big catch, things that people want to know about. At least for the people that care. I don't know. And I kind of care. It's pretty cool. I'm excited for the Switch. I am actually super hyped, regardless of my cynical attitude. I am actually pretty hyped. I want to see where this thing goes and how it's going to play out. But the way I'm recording this is, and this is not going to be a regular thing, I'm recording this first part before the Nintendo Switch reveal to spurt out my little thoughts and predictions, and then I'm recording part 2 afterwards, after the whole reveal, and see how far off I've gotten with my little predictions and stuff, or what other people have been predicting and all that, because I'm going to grab from some noob sources. That's a Freudian slip right there. Noob sources, because like Polygon and Time Magazine and all that. Noob sources like IGN. No, legitimate news sources like that. And Laura K. Buzz, if you're familiar with her, she's on the Podquisition, which is another good podcast you should go listen to if you like gaming stuff. It's not for the faint of heart. So, it's not as maybe family friendly as my stuff here, but, it's all good. And she is like the most reliable source for all Nintendo Switch leaks. If Laura says, hey, this is a thing for the Switch, it's probably a thing. And regardless if anybody else has actually reported on it, Laura K. Buzz is the place to go for all your Nintendo news. Yeah, screw IGN. No, I love those guys. I still watch them every once in a while. I don't know. After that, yeah, I'll be talking about that. Yes, I ripped this sequence off of the Co-Optional podcast, which is another good gaming podcast you should listen to. It's got Total Biscuit, Jesse Cox, and Dodger. I'm going to go over some game releases. This is such a hacked up job. Anyways, and then I'm going to give you my personal game of the week that you should go out and look and play. It can be anything new, it can be anything old, it can be, retro or new or something on a console maybe a computer game, maybe even a board game if I find one, or a card game. Which, I should write that down in my notes. Because I said card game and I just thought I don't have a pen. But yeah, no, anywho, we'll get to that. That's going to be at the end of the show, and then our little outros hour, like I'm actually talking with somebody. No, I'm not. I'm just by myself. Let's carry on. Yeah, that's spurred on for way too long. That needs to be cut down. I might just redo that. No, screw it. Let's do it. So So, Pong, what have you been playing this weekend recently? Well, it's nice that you ask that because that's going to get annoying. Talking about games I have been playing recently. I wrote them all down on a nice little list. So I got Paladins, Pokemon, the trading card game online, Mega Man Unlimited, which is a fan game. Okay, screw the list. I'm not just going to go through it. Paladins. What is Paladins? Anyways, Paladins, some of you may already know the game Paladins. Definitely if you're a big computer gamer or whatever and all that. And you're going to say, why are you playing that, Pong? You should be playing Overwatch. Well, here's the thing. My laptop just can't handle it. So, you know what? Paladins it is. That being said, Paladins, a lot of people have been saying it's a Overwatch ripoff, which it kind of is. But you know what? They're both a ripoff on TF2 anyway, so they're just a little bit more fun to play. And it's a new, fresh skin with new, variables and move sets and all that, which adds new strategies and new maps. So they're basically like a TF2, Team Fortress 2, for those who don't know, but new. Because Team Fortress 2 came out in like 2006, 2007, I don't remember. But that's not the point. It's almost like 10 years old. It's a 10-year-old game, and I've been craving something just like it, but slightly fresh, Nice, fresh, and tasty. But yes, Paladins is actually quite fun. And for those that know me from my channel, yes, the other reason I play it is because I'm a cheap little bastard. And it's a free-to-play game. And frankly, you don't... Okay, I'm anybody that's directly connected with the development of the game, I apologize for plugging the game like this, but you don't have to spend a dime on it. You can just... I've unlocked every single character just by playing the game. Not because I spent $20, $25 on a Founders Pack, but I've just grinded for several weeks and was like, bam, I got all the characters. It probably helped that I started playing around the big Christmas XP boost, but that's not the point. So let's say my 3-week span of playing it for hours on end can translate to maybe 2 months of playing and getting to really know one character at a time, which is a good thing for that style of game. It's like a fighting game, like Street Fighter. Each character is different and they play differently. Or like Super Smash Brothers, each character is different. For Paladins, each character is different. So, it's not a bad idea to really step by step go through each and every single character and figure out, okay, well, these are the characters I'm not very good at, or these are the characters I excel at, or I just love playing, because frankly, whether you're a hardcore or casual gamer, you'll get more enjoyment if you actually enjoy playing that character. Now you may be asking me, who's your favorite characters, Pong, out of Paladins? Well, easily first off, I can tell you what I'm good at. I tend to be better at front lines or support, which is kind of funny. The two pretty different things. But that aside, my favorite characters to play would be Makoa, because he's got the giant turtle thing that has a cannon gun thing that explodes and has a weird arc to it. So it's kind of weird trying to snipe people from a distance. But it's got a nice punch to it, so that fewer shots to get that kill. But the one thing I love about him is not so much his shield defensive move, but his dredge anchor, which is a scorpion, get over here, that sort of thing, where it's and you can do that and just try to point out specific other players with low HP, or characters that don't have a lot of HP to begin with, and point them out and be like, bam, get over here, and then blast them in the face. And it's a very nice feeling if you can pull that off. It's a real basic combo with Makoa, but he's fun. The other frontliners that I like, it's kind of a tie between Fernando and Barrack, but I'd have to say I probably like Fernando just a little bit better. He's very up close and personal with his little flamethrower thing and his, little shield that he actually carries as a shield. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. What are the other characters I like? I like Sky. I like Ying. I like Grover, who I always like to think of Groot, because he's basically a walking tree ant thing. Enough about Paladins. Most of y'all don't care. Unless you do care, leave your comments down below, and the easiest way to get in contact with me about this would be in my YouTube channel, down in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. Hey, Pong, why don't you talk about more about Paladins? I want to hear about that. What are your strategies? What have you come across? What are the perks, pros and cons, whatever? Let me know, because I can talk for a good 15 minutes. It's not that long. 15 minutes about, Paladins. It's a fun game. And it's a nice action-packed game. It is free, so I'm telling you, at least give it a shot. It's free. What are you losing? Really, what are you losing if you play the game? It's free. It's not like you have to throw down $60 or $40 or $30 for it. It's free. And just test it out. If you don't like it, don't play it. It's as simple as that. Anyways, if you like Overwatch, but, don't have the money to buy one copy for yourself, maybe fix that itch with Paladins until you can buy Overwatch. It's your nice little gateway game to Overwatch. That way you can still be kind of on top of your game with that style of FPS arena battle shooter thing. This ain't no VGT. I'm not going to go into that detail. What other games have I been playing? On and off, Pokemon TCGO, the trading card game online. Nothing new there, really. Yeah. What news can I pull out for the TCGO? I don't know, it's fun. It runs better than Magic. Nah. Maybe not as good as Hearthstone, but it runs good, and it's more just a casual, laid-back little fun game you can play that still takes a little bit of strategy, there's good strategy there, And if you really want to dive deep into the hardcore realm of strategy with Pokemon trading card game, you can. But you don't have to. No pressure. No pressure, bro. No pressure. What else have I been playing? Mega Man Unlimited. I just started playing that. It's a fan-made game, kind of like Pokemon Uranium and all that, but with Mega Man. And holy balls, it is good, but it is so freaking hard. I can't. Maybe I just suck at Mega Man. Or I'm just so out of practice with Mega Man that I just now kind of suck at that style of platform shooter. That game, just do a quick Google search of Mega Man Unlimited, and you can probably find it. Just don't click on any illegitimate websites in fear of viruses and all that. But if you can find a legitimate site, dude, Mega Man Unlimited is fun. It is really good. Capcom needs to step up their game. I love the Legacy Collection. I got that on the 3DS. That's Mega Man 1 through 6. But, frankly, it's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. It has cool features. It has nice little challenges and all that. But it's games from the late 80s, man. Come on, Capcom. Get with it. It can't be that hard to get a platformer going. Everybody else is doing it on Steam. Why can't you? As simple as that. What else have I been playing? This little game called Deeb's Dilemma, which is available on Steam. Regular price is $1.99. It was on sale. It might actually be on sale right now. By the time this podcast comes out, the sale probably ended, but for 50 cents. So keep an eye out on it if you do want to buy it. But it's probably not something you want to play unless you like really old school RPG dungeon crawlers, grid based. And it's weird because it's real-time strategy with cooldowns and all that with your spells. You're a wizard and you can only do spells that you choose from your little pocket book of spells, and you can learn spells and go on and progress. There's 100 levels, and yeah, that doesn't sound like a whole lot. It kind of does at the same time, but really they're not. But what makes it so difficult to even get to level 50 is that the game is brutally difficult. It is hard. So if you like really hard games, yeah, look up Deeb's Dilemma. Now, it may sound like I have a slight bias to this game. If you look at it, you're like, dude, Pong, this hasn't aged well. This looks like some weird 90s Flash game, which it was. Ba-dum-bum. It was actually a game that I grew up with in the early days of the internet. when I was just a wee lad, you know. Actually, I wasn't that young, but I liked free games on the internet. I I remember high school with the early days of Newgrounds and Charlie the Unicorn before it became popular and all that. You know, all that good stuff. So, yeah, that Deeb's Dilemma by Random Thoughts. It's a really cool game if you can get past the age of it, and if you like old school, real like actual old school games, not none of this like early access crap on Steam that's like a 2D inspired platformer, 16 bits. You know, everything's 2D but 16-bit inspired. You know, there's very few games that are true to that style, but hundreds upon probably millions and billions of games that say they are, but they're really not. But, you know, Deep's Dilemma is pretty fun, and it's super cheap, so, you know, I'm all about that. Other things I've been playing Civ 4, the colonization mod, which I haven't actually, I've had in my library for maybe over a year now, because Civilization 4, all the expansion packs and all that were on sale for like butt cheap, like $5, $10 total for the whole thing. I don't remember. And then I got all 4 packs, and I was like, "Bam, this is gonna be awesome!" So I just played a whole bunch of Civ 4 with the regular expansion packs, but never sat down and played Colonization because I never really grew up with it. I played it maybe once or twice at a friend's house a long time ago, like the original game. But I've been playing that recently. It's a nice mix-up because it's colonization. It's not civilization, it's colonization. That's a trading game, so it's got a slightly different strategy set to it, but it's got that Civ 4 skin. You know, it's good. It's good. Trust me, I'm the sensei. It's good. Yeah, you'll like it. If you like strategy games, of course, or grand strategy, or any kind of like maybe even a tycoon game, because it's got that weird, you know, turn-based strategy tycoony vibe to it because you're trying to trade goods to make money so you can revolt and be the first, you know, country to flubba blah. Which at some point I want to make a civilization let's play or Sid Meier's colonization let's play for as a Columbus Day special and play as specifically the Spanish and specifically destroy the Sioux, the Aztecs, or the Maya. I don't care who. It just has to be some Native American group. And yeah, that's terrible. But I think it'd be funny, kind of to some degree. I know I'm going to offend somebody. So, but you know what? It's Happy Columbus Day, everybody. What else have I played? Age of Empires 2, the HD collection. I picked that up on a Christmas sale. I finally picked it up. I was like, okay, bam, let's play that. It's really cool. Another game I should have played when it came out is FTL, which is Faster Than Light, which is a space strategy sim thingy where it's like you're a crew in a spaceship and you're going from like sector to sector and being like bam and exploring and random things happen and it is horribly difficult. But crazy fun to play if that's the style of game you like. If you like roguelites, if you like strategy game, if you like space sci-fi stuff. It is super fun because it feels like you're the captain of a Star Trek vessel and you're just like going from to like alien space, not knowing what you're going to come across, and random things can happen and boom, everybody dies in a fiery death or suffocates to death. That happens a lot. It's usually fire and brimstone from like droids and all that. FTL is really fun. Heroes Never Lose is really fun. I've been playing a little bit of that. I've been playing a little bit of this other game called Commander Keen that you may or may not know. It is a super old series. I think the last game they came out with was in the early 2000s on the Game Boy Advance. I'm trying to really pull up from my video game trivia here, but I don't know how that one was. I might have to try to find it if I really want to. But I've been playing Commander Keen only because I've been thinking about maybe doing a retrospective of the entire series. Because everybody on all the gaming channels, like reviewy channels, have been like, Hey, I'm doing a retrospective on the things I love. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot. All that good stuff. Sonic the Hedgehog, gotta go fast. And I was just thinking to myself, well, I should probably do like a little retrospective at some point. It's a nice format. People do enjoy it. And asking the question, hey, does this game still hold up? It was a classic then, and it was good back then. Does it still hold up now? And Commander Keen never gets the love he deserves. And I love Commander Keen. And I want to say it's by id Software, the same people that put out Doom and Quake. Don't quote me on that. I could have gotten that completely wrong. I'm a little bit tired. Drink my tea. Oh, yeah. Delicious tea. Point is, yes, Commander Keen is fun. It's aged. It's aged. I won't go into detail if I make a video, and I don't want any spoilers, but it's definitely aged. Do I enjoy it? Yes, but I like old DOS games. If you do, go look out for Commander Keen. It is available on Steam. So, shabam. And that is about it. No one wants to talk about Dungeon. Oh, yeah. I have Minecraft on here. Yeah, for some weird... Okay, no, I know exactly why I started up playing Minecraft again. It's all because of PBG. Peanut Butter Gameplay, or Peanut Butter Gamer, on his secondary Let's Play channel, PBG Gameplay, with his Minecraft Hardcore series, which is one of the best Minecraft series you can ever find on YouTube. If you don't like Minecraft, still go watch it, because it is seriously fun to watch, and it actually kind of makes you want to play Minecraft. So I thought to myself, hey, I'm going to play some Minecraft, and I got like 5 kids that love watching Minecraft Let's Plays. And then, I'm just thinking to myself, my kids are like, dude, Dad, why don't you play Minecraft videos? Why don't you do a Minecraft Let's Play? That's a really good idea. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. Easy clickbait right there. Yeah. So I figured, might as well just dip my toes in there. And I've discovered something new about Minecraft. It's not new at all. It's like 5 years old. But those Minecraft servers with minigames, I've been playing a little bit of Hunger Games and Sky Battles, or whatever it's called, some TNT games, whatever, I don't know, Tag, Vampires and Zombies, or whatever it's called, on Hypixel and Minecraft PC Prime MC, I don't know. I've got like several servers on my list now that I just jump between. But I've come to the realization I suck at Minecraft minigames. I really, really terribly suck. And it's funny because I don't know if I consider myself a hardcore gamer, because I play a lot of games. I sometimes get really into games, and I'm ready to throw down some cash at some games, very specific games. But yeah, so in that sense, you can consider me a hardcore gamer, because I really think out the strategies. I really think out my plans. I don't just play for fun sometimes. I play because I like playing. But I can't wrap my head around just sucking at Minecraft. Maybe it's just sucking at with me in fighting games, because I suck at fighting games as well. So you might be thinking, well, Pong, what kind of games do you tend to be good at? Well, I tend to be good at platformers. I tend to be good at like 2D platformers, and I tend to be pretty good at shmups, shoot 'em ups, shooters, old school like top-downy or 2D scrollers shooters like Defender. I don't know why that was the only one. Gradius. Freaking Defender. That is an old game. Fun. Very, very fun. I can pick up Defender anytime and just start playing for like a good hour. But why I thought Defender. There's some other good ones like Sora. That's a newer one that came out maybe like in the past 7 years. It's available on Steam if you ever are curious. All right, this segment's gone on for far too long. Let's carry on. Gaming news. Da 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 boom boom. Ba 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 bow. Ba 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 bow. Gaming news. I made a whole like list of things, and I realized one funny thing about gaming news. I looked at IGN. Well, I also looked at Let's Play Video Games by Laura K. Buzz. I looked at Polygon and all that. But IGN was the one that really made me laugh, because today is the 11th, Part 2 is going to be filmed recorded on the 13th or 14th when I get like all my ideas down for what I thought of the Nintendo Switch reveal. But freaking IGN, man. It's not, man, gaming news must be dead right now. Because I found 2 stories that are just hilarious. Number 1 story, right when I clicked on IGN, what was it? It wasn't about Scalebound, Scalebound being canceled. It wasn't about, the Nintendo Switch pre-orders. It was about Taco Bell's new taco shell is made of fried chicken because 2017 is already awesome. Taco Bell's new taco shell is made of fried chicken on a gaming website. Okay, they know their audience, yes. Because to me, that sounds freaking amazing. I want to eat it. I just want to rub it on my face and just like, fried chicken. But and Mooka, my wife, was like, no, that sounds disgusting. I'm like, no, but it's so good, Mooka. Just taste that fried chicken. But she's like, no, Pong. We don't call each other Mooka or Pong, just by the way. I'm not sure if she wants me to use her real name. I don't know. It doesn't matter. My real name is Fred, by the way, so you can just call me Fred or Sensei, whichever. But yes, so, if that's the number 1 news story on IGN, let's talk about that. Taco Bell's new taco shell is made out of fried chicken. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you like the idea? Does that sound horribly disgusting to you or horribly unhealthy and you would never partake in it? Mind you, it's only $3. Huh? Oh my gosh. It's going to be called the Naked Chicken Chalupa. Oh yeah. Just stuff that naked chicken right in your mouth. Because that's what you all want to do when you're hungry. Ew. Lickety lick. Yes, that's the number 1 news story on IGN. Oh, but the other the other stupid story I found on IGN was about Will Smith. I was like, what's this got to do about gaming unless he's voice acting for the new Call of Booty or something? I don't know. Will Smith to choose live action Dumbo over Bad Boys 3. Yes, take that in. This is prime journalism right here for prime gaming news. Your number 1 gaming news source, IGN. Will Smith to choose Dumbo over Bad Boys 3. Which, I want to say something real fast. I know this isn't gaming related, but there might be a game to it at some point. So, let's just say it is. A live action Dumbo? Live action Dumbo? Really? I know they're coming out with Beauty and Beast. And I know it's word for word. So really the question is, why do I need to watch that again? The cartoon is amazing. Maybe they're going to get rid of them racist crows, but you know what? That's still the charm of the movie because it's okay, maybe it's not that charming, but it's still it's a product of its time. We can look back on that and be like, yeah, maybe that wasn't that good of an idea. But you gotta like that song, When I See an Elephant Fly. The point is, live action Dumbo, that seems like a bad idea. But, frankly, I can understand Will Smith's position for not taking Bad Boys 3 over the live action Dumbo. Because why would you need to make a Bad Boys 3? Really? Really? Does it have that much brand strength and brand recognition to be like, we're going to get lots of money off Bad Boys 3? I can see the live action Dumbo making more money than Bad Boys 3. But I don't understand why you need those movies. Why do we need those movies in our palette? Is 2018 or 2017, well, it's probably filming this year. So does 2018 really need that on our plate? I want to look up what other movies are coming out in 2018. What Marvel movies coming out? Because there's probably going to be like 5 or 10 of them. But what other Marvel movies do we have that can compete with Dumbo and Bad Boys 3? But yes, that's the gaming news. Oh, though something funny I did find was about No Man's Sky, which I know some of you are going to be like, oh my gosh, Pong, this is such old hat news, and I don't care because it's kind of funny. So the developer, don't care what his name was. It was Hello Game, the CEO or creator, or mastermind of Hello Games, the game company, had said something like, the chances of finding another player in the galaxy is so slim that it can be considered impossible. Anyways, like soon after he said that, two people actually met. Now that's not the funny part of the story. What makes it sad, really, is that when they met, if unless I got the story wrong, when they met, they couldn't see each other and they couldn't interact with each other, and couldn't see the consequence of each other's actions. Like, let's say, okay, it's basically Minecraft in space, but with less features. But like one dude like zaps a rock because they're trying to mine it, or one guy zaps a tree because they're trying to, chop down the tree, or one guy zaps an alien because he wants to catalog, that species in his encyclopedia. The other player couldn't see them doing that. If that one player mines the rock, you don't see the rock being mined. It's still there and it's not connected to each other. They're just in the same space. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, but that's yeah. Oh, that made it up on like the top 15 most sold games on Steam, by the way, which makes me kind of sad. Very, very sad. Although I want to say I had a good feeling. I can say this, and I know y'all don't have to believe me because it's like well after the fact, but before it came out, I was thinking to myself, man, I just got bad vibes about this game. And the same thing happened to me with Mighty Number 9. That's why I never bought those games. And after, and usually, but then again, I'm usually a pretty careful buyer. I'm just like, yeah, game looks pretty cool, but I just feel like there's some red flags going on, and I don't want to buy it. So I usually wait a few days to see what people say. And it paid out for me, because Mighty Number 9 and No Man's Sky sucked. So, yay. Point is, that's a funny little story. You could look that up if you want. And then the creator or something might have said something along the lines of, no, there is no multiplayer in the game, even though they had said there was multiplayer in the game, and it's just more bad news for No Man's Sky. But why are you here? You're probably here because you want to hear about the Nintendo Switch. Yes. So I looked up some fun stuff, and I pulled from the source Time Magazine because I thought, hey, Time Magazine. They're not a gaming news source normally, but they're a trusted source. And I was like, okay, well then, let's see how far you've gotten down this little rabbit hole. Which I want to say, there are better sources to get your Switch leaks than Time Magazine, but that's beside the point. Because half these little points that they pulled up, I was like, we already know that, man. Don't act like you're so unsure. You'll get what I mean when I say this. According to Time Magazine, as of January 11th, 2017, the Switch will be a hybrid home mobile tablet. Derp. Of course it is. Yeah, we've known that for like half a year, dude. Okay, that's not new. What was the next thing? Cartridges. And assuming, let's underline that. It's not underlined in the article, and assuming digital downloads. Yes, of course. We've known that too. You saw the trailer with the chick like shoving the cartridge in the hole? Yeah. It's going to have cartridges. You can't. And then assuming digital downloads. How can you assume digital downloads? Of course there's going to be digital downloads. Well, that's where we're going. But people still like physical media, so you got to have something. And cartridges are just, at this point, are better than discs. You can argue with me on that, but they just are. They always have been. But now they're so cheap to make, it's commercially viable again. Assuming digital downloads. I want to say I heard about a leak about the Switch having the virtual console, well, at least part of the virtual console library on it, if not the whole library that they have now. Maybe add a few games within a month or something like that. But if you have virtual console games on the Switch, doesn't that technically mean those are digital downloads? So why wouldn't you have that and then have a full game? Like, let's say they come out with Luigi's Mansion 3 or something, and you can get that as a digital download. Why couldn't you do those both at the same time? Why? Are we talking about the DS Lite here? Technology that's like 10 years old, 15 years old, maybe. I don't. You can't assume digital downloads and say that you assume it because it's gonna have digital downloads. All consoles do this at this point. It's not a thing to really be like, "Hey guys, I heard this hot tip." The other thing was price. The pricing point of the Nintendo Switch. There was no word. They said no word, but they also assumed maybe 250. No, they said maybe 300, maybe 250. Like at the end of the article, and really, really, guys, people have been talking about this for like a few months now. How do you cross-reference your information, dude? Really? Come on, time. Come on. Get with the times. Ha 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 ha. Oh, Time Magazine seems like they're behind the times on this one if they want to go into gaming journalism seriously, but I ain't no journalist. I don't have any grounds to speak. But if I can say, dude, we've known this for like a few months now. We can't say I can't take it seriously. What was the other thing? A release date for the Switch, March 2017. Ooh, that's some new information. I feel like I'm ragging too much on them because they did have some cool little information that they did put down. Early release dates for New York City, it's January 13th through the 15th. That's coming up in a few days. That's pretty cool. Or actually, by the time this podcast comes out, people would already have it, so that's cool. Toronto, Canada, January 27th through the 29th. Washington, D.C., February 10th through the 12th. Chicago, February 17th to the 19th. San Francisco, February 24th to the 26th. And L.A., March 3rd to the 5th. And at this point, we can assume that these are, kind of like a short bursts of release, and then they're going to do like a full worldwide release in March. This is all information we can pretty much deduct ourselves, but whatever. Though it was funny that they said no later than March 31st, unless the surprise during the Nintendo Direct is that it's delayed, which they said is unlikely. But that seems like too big of a shot in the foot for Nintendo to pull, to be like, hey guys, guess what? This is the Nintendo Switch. Look at all these cool games we're going to have on it. Look at all these cool features. And people are like, ooh, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And then the other surprise are going to be like, and it's delayed for next year or April. No, they're not going to do that. Nobody in their right mind would do that. Then again, it is Nintendo we're talking about, but I really don't think Nintendo's gonna derp that sandwich that badly and just put the mayo on the outside of the bun. That allegory thingy didn't work too well. Anyways, yeah. What else did they say? It has a kickstand. That was one of the features they confirmed. I think the guy that reported this just looked at the trailer and was like, I see a girl stuffing a cartridge in there. It's got cartridges. And then the guy on the airplane puts out the kickstand. It's like, hey guys, look, it's got a kickstand. And then the other thing that they confirmed was the pads, the controller, isn't called a controller or a joystick or a joypad or whatever. They're called Joy-Cons. And they have Pro Pad options. That's information that's not a huge leak. I want to say Nintendo actually stated, "Hey, these are the controllers, guys. Look at them. Look at them. They could come off." Just at some point they probably were like, "These are called Joy-Cons," because we like branding our things with funny names like Wiimote. But point is, these leaks suck. Time Magazine needs to get with the times. I want to say I heard it from the Commonwealth Realm, which is another great YouTube channel that you need to go check out if you like your Switch news and Switch leaks, because I'm not going to be on top of it. I'm just going to promise you that. They got teams that are constantly checking this news out, and I'm just a one-man show. I know that there is a third party hitbox because of Commonwealth Realm, and some European controller company is creating it and is now like pre-ordering it or something like that. And okay, it's going to be expensive as all crap because those hit boxes are expensive. But point is, yes, there's third-party stuff, and I want to say it was also Commonwealth Realm that might have pulled it from dorA.thI Buzz that said, yes, it will have VR support because at the end of the article it said, well, there's a lot of things we can't confirm about the Nintendo Switch, like will it have VR support? Yes, because I want to say yes. I want to be 100% sure that there is, because I want to say it was dorA.thI Buzz, maybe somebody else, or a whole bunch of other sources found like some patent stuff for like a Gear VR type setup where like you shove the pad into like a headset, but the headset kind of acts like the main station for the TV where it starts overclocking it, because the biggest concern for a setup like that with a Nintendo Switch is that the hardware, when you go from the rumor is that when you go from like TV to handheld, it downgrades the HD down to like 720 and 30 FPS or something like that, and then or maybe 60, I have no idea. But point is, it downgrades it, and then that way it saves on battery life, which makes sense. Why wouldn't you do that? But if you have something like that and stick it up to your screen on a VR headset, you're going to get motion sickness. That's the biggest concern. That headset thing, like, overclocks it again, and then, like, you can play in, like, full out 1080p HD with 60 frames per second and not get motion sickness. So that's a good thing. But yeah, because it didn't look like just a box that like a Google Cardboard box. It didn't look like that cheap. It's, I want to say the price point for the VR headset's going to be about $100. I think that's what the estimation is from all the theorists out there. So let's hazard a guess. On the low end, $75. On the high end, $150. I want to say I also heard somebody say $60, and that's probably Commonwealth Realm, but they probably said $60 to $150. And I trust their source. They're pretty good. They're a good source. Yeah, it's going to have VR. What was the other thing they said? That Time magazine said, "Hey, I don't know if the Switch is going to have this. Will it? We don't know." Was Amiibos? I'm going to say probably. Probably. Why wouldn't you have the Amiibos? They were kind of a hit to some degree. They were popular. You know, people like their little extra add-ons, and it's not so much the hardcore audience. I suppose the hardcore fans of Nintendo love the Amiibos, but the Amiibos are pretty cool. You know, little physical DLC you can attach to your games. Sega did it first. No, I'm kidding. No, they might have. Somebody else has probably done it first, outside of Skylanders. I know Amiibo is kind of like Skylanders in that sense, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves there. A sharing button plus achievements. I don't know about the sharing button. My thoughts on the achievements is they're probably going to be adding in achievements, because I want to say I heard some news about Nintendo allowing for actual profiles on their Nintendo network, similar to Steam or the PSN or Xbox, where it's like, hey, this is your account. You bought these games on a previous console, but it's still on your account. Would you like to download these games if they're compatible with this new system? So, yes. Or, hey, you reached level 54 on your achievement personal profile because you're an achievement hunter. Bam. We're going to translate that and bring you back up to that same level on your new console because blah, blah, blah. You know, that's how it works, yo. You don't have to start from square one. I want to say Xbox One and PS4 and all the consoles do that outside of Nintendo. But it's not a new thing. Steam does that. And I know PSN does it. So, you know, whatever. Because I connected my PSP account to my PS3. And I was like, hey, Shabam, I can play this game now. Boo-ba-doo-ba-doo-boo-boo. Yeah. So, yes. PlayStation has done it for years. Xbox has done it for years. I don't see why Nintendo wouldn't jump on the board too and be like, hey, this is consumer friendly. You know, they're going to do it. Achievements are there. Sun and Moon. That they mentioned, they were like, "Is there going to be a port for Sun and Moon on the NX? I mean the the Switch?" And my question is, did you not hear anything about Pokemon Stars, Pokemon Eclipse? Maybe if you're like kind of behind on the news there, but they didn't mention Stars. So yeah, there's probably going to be some Pokemon game on it. I can guarantee you that. And the price was 300 or 250 or something like that. Oh, and the NVIDIA Tegra processor at 1080p plus 4K. And the guy was like saying, well, 4K seems like a blah blah blah, a very nichey thing, so it's probably not going to catch on. Now, I want to say something. People said that about HD when it came out. People said that about DVDs when it came out. People said that when Laserdisc came out. No, forget that. Laserdisc never did catch on, but because DVDs came along. You can't say 4K may not catch on. It's a niche thing. Yes, it's a niche thing right now because a 4K TV is like $2,000. And I ain't gonna spend $2,000 on like a crazy TV unless I know I can play the things on it that I want. And I know most people won't, unless people love the HD high quality stuff. But 5 years from now, 4K might actually just be the same price of a regular big screen TV. So why would you say that? What? It's then again, maybe I don't know. That one business analyst back in the early 80s was right too. Video games is just a fad. It's going to die out, whatever. That seemed a little bit short-sighted personally. I'm excited to see this, so I'm just going to cut this off now. I've been recording for quite some time. Seems what else have I put down? What looking through my notes? Looking through my notes. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Oh, yeah. So anywho, what are my thoughts on this? What are my thoughts on my pre-predictions for the Nintendo Switch Direct thing that you've probably already seen, and by the time part 2 rolls around in the next few minutes, I had already seen. But what's my conclusion on this? Well, my conclusion is that don't go to Time Magazine for your gaming news. It's terrible. Go seek out Let's Play Videogames.com, hosted by Laura K. Buzz, or even listen to the Podquisition, which I've said before, but they're not so family friendly. Maybe go listen to Co-optional podcasts. They're really good. CU podcasts, whatever. I'm just plugging all these podcasts that aren't mine. Go listen to them too. They're awesome. And they're really on top of it. YouTube channel wise, Commonwealth Realm, and everybody else that's connected to him. So that's probably McIntyre, and there's a few other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. But they get pretty on top of the news. Proto Mario, that's another good one. He's more commentary, though, and some theory. Anywho, point is, I've been saying point is too many times. That's my point. Yes, Time Magazine, you have failed me. Let's hit the break. Grab me coffee. Oh, Arlo put up something. Actually, that's another good YouTube channel. I'm just going to start plugging everything that's not connected to me. That's just how I roll. Because if I find something good that you should probably watch, I'll plug it. Anywho, if you don't... Okay, disregard the Muppet looking dude, but Arlo, spelled Arlo, is not that bad of a source to go to for any kind of Nintendo information. I'm just saying, he's connected with Noggin, who's also a really good channel. Mostly does game theory stuff, but if you like all that, Arlo is pretty fun. He's a Muppet type character. He's not connected with the Muppets, but he is a Muppet type character. Don't want to kill the illusion here, so I'm going to treat him like a regular YouTuber, but he's great. Welcome back from the break. So, two things first off. If the audio sounds different than the first half, that's because it is. I'm recording in a different room right now, only because I want to kind of test out different audio qualities here. You can leave your comments down below if you can tell a difference, or if you have a preference, or like, well, the audio in the first half was better than the second, or you can even say the audio in the second half was better than the first, and then tell me why that is. If too echoey, whatever, any kind of thing. Any kind of input would be helpful. Any kind of audio problems could also just be with post-production with my editing skills, because I'm no professional editor. I'm a YouTuber that is very, very small, and it's more just like an amateurish hobby at this point. Number two, the other thing I want to mention was my little release notes from Time Magazine. I probably just read it wrong, because I really didn't care at that point. And if I just don't care either about a game or article, I just start kind of going through the motions, either skim reading, quick reading, speed reading, or with a game, just kind of push it through if I'm trying to do a review and have to play the entire game. I just kind of let my eyes glaze over and just speed on through it. That's where I messed up. Anyways, those release dates are not true. What we learned today at the presentation that I saw on YouTube live was the actual full release date for the Switch is going to be March 3rd. And those dates I had listed every other Saturday, it just so happens, are actually like a little presentation, like a Nintendo Treehouse type deal where people can come in and play. And Reggie was all, getting the hype train, being like, you gotta come early because there's a lot of people out there that want to play our games, and there's no guarantee you'll have time to play, which is probably true. They're doing the same thing in Europe, too. So if you live there, I didn't pull up the information for that, but I'm pretty sure it's not that hard to look up yourself. But like I said, the American cities are there, and if you wrote that down when you heard that from me, that's if you live in those cities and you want to try to attend those events, go. It should be pretty cool. I can't guarantee if Reggie or Miyamoto are going to be there, but if they are, that'd be pretty cool, and that's almost a near once-in-a-lifetime moment. And if you're a huge Nintendo fan, or just a gaming fan in general, just go check out some of the pillars in the gaming community and gaming business community. So that's pretty cool. So if you're a developer too, go check them out if you have the option and ability to. That being said, the Nintendo conference happened, and what do I think? Were any of my predictions true? Well, I'm going to pull from a video I had made earlier, like last year, I want to say in November. It may have been early December, I don't remember. It doesn't matter when it came out. But it was my personal predictions on how well the Switch is going to do upon its release. And for the full video, I'm just going to do a recap here off the top of my head. If you want to watch the whole video, I recommend it. It's pretty fun. It's not too bad. It's not my more entertaining content. It's more just like thoughts, if that makes sense. My thoughts with Sensei Pong kind of video. But if you want to see what my predictions are officially at that point in time, that's what it is. But I don't think my thoughts and predictions have changed that much. I think the Nintendo Switch is going to do well upon its release. And, definitely not surpass the PS4 by the end of the year. That's a very lofty goal. Everybody and their mothers has to be buying one at that point to reach, plus 50 mil. But I'm still going to hazard the guess that it may actually outsell the Xbox One by the end of the year. Because looking at the numbers, if the numbers haven't changed that much, and I wouldn't reckon they would, surpassing 20, it's going to pass the Wii U by the end of the year, but surpassing 23, 28 million copies, consoles of the Switch, unless Nintendo is stupid about their supply, I really don't see them struggling at all to reach at least 15 million, 20 million by the end of this year. So that's good numbers for them. That's not bad. It's not awesome, but it's not bad. It's pretty good. Anyways, point is, what did I think of the conference? I thought it was a pretty good conference, like a little press thingy. Let's go over what my little notes here says. Oh, by the way, earlier in the show I said I was going to do Steam releases, Game of the Week, but I looked over the recorded footage and I was like, holy monkeys, I talk forever. So I may not even do Steam releases unless I feel like there's nothing going on in that time for like news coverage. And yes, I'm kind of glazing over. Can't even remember what the game name was. I have it all written down here somewhere. Oh yeah, the Scalebound. I kept wanting to say Soundbound. Maybe that's just because I've been looking into research for like hosting this podcast with SoundCloud. So, but yeah, Scalebound was canceled. I'm not going to cover too much about that. Everybody else has. I recommend going over there for that information. But you come here for my own personal opinions. I'll just tell you what I think of the Scalebound cancellation. I find it very sad, and it's very bad news for Xbox in general. They have some decent, like a few good handful of Xbox One exclusives coming out this year, but in all honesty, canceling such a major exclusive, it feels like they're almost giving up, cutting their losses, and trying to like put the money where they think would make them the most money before they just lose. And that's bad. That's honestly bad for them in the long haul. But they're coming to a realization that, okay, well, Switch is coming out, PS4 is slamming on sales all throughout this whole like 4 years that it's been out. We're not going to catch up. We just got to do what we can. And there's more to that, I know, but I'm not going to go into detail. Because you want to know about my thoughts on the Switch reveal. Do. Oh yeah, confirmed games. FIFA's coming. If anybody didn't see that one coming, I think it was already announced. So if you all like sports games, yeah, FIFA, NBA 2K, that's pretty cool. And then every once in a while, I'm in the mood for sports games. Am I very good at them? Not really. Okay, so actually, you know what? We're just going to go through what I actually wrote down here. So after 15 minutes of rave music, I came to the realization that, oh my gosh, I love that clicking sound. I just want that on loop. I want that on loop. And I have this stupid video series on my YouTube channel called Worst ASMRs of All Time, and I want to turn that into an ASMR somehow and put that video in onto my channel and throw off and confuse the newer subscribers because they're like, okay, dude, Sensei Pong puts out like this, and this. Why is he putting this out? And then like the people that have been subscribed for like a year and a half will be like, oh, that Pong, he did it again. What a crap video. Anyways, so yes. God, I love that clicking sound. Adaptable hybrid Joy-Cons plus Pro Pad. We already knew that. Release date March 3rd. We already went over that. But the price points, the finalized price points are going to be 29,980 yen or $299.99. And they said for Europe, go check out your local retailer. But I did the conversion rate at that point in time because money goes up and down in terms of conversion. And that comes out to about 282 and 54.54 euros. So I'd assume maybe 300 euros, maybe 280 euros. I don't know, 275 euros on deal or whatever. I have no idea. I don't know how the euro really works. I'm not a money man. I ain't no financial advisor, but that's what my conversion came out to. And I'm going to hazard the guess for any of my UK listeners, because I do have a pretty big UK following on my channel. If they come here to listen to the podcast, it's probably going to be around 282. No, you guys use pounds or whatever. I don't know. So let's just guess that. So yeah, okay, that's what I thought. 250 pounds, roughly. Because it says 245 pounds and 53 pence. Is that right? Is that right? I've never lived in England. 245 pounds and 53 pence. So we'll say like 250 pounds. Anyways, and that's the problems of recording in the laundry room. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They confirmed online gaming, which is no real surprise. But one small thing he did mention, which was pretty cool, apps that connect to the Switch to have that like almost AR-ish type gameplay where like you play one thing on your phone and it translates to something else within the game. So something like maybe Fallout Shelter, if you all know that app, you can connect it to Fallout 4 and then be like, well, I've collected this much, and now I can get like some small reward for Fallout 4. GTA has a similar thing. There's a lot of games out there that have already been doing that on the PS4 and the Xbox One. So it's no real surprise that Nintendo is adapting this to the Switch. But I just thought that was pretty cool. Nintendo's finally on board with that. They're moving along. That's nice. Online service for the Switch will be free until November 2017. November of this year. So kind of what the CEO of Nintendo was saying, he was like, well, it's like a trial period for everyone to try out. And if you want to pay for it, you can. Once November rolls around, at that point, it will be a paid service, similar to like Xbox Live. Which that sucks. I know, because PSN is free. That's why PlayStation rocks it with its multiplayer, and Xbox kind of lags behind in terms of multiplayer because you're playing the online game, and I understand it costs money to run the servers because you got to have moderators and all those different like computer techs maintaining it. At the same time, PlayStation does it for free. So, well, it's as long as it's not like super expensive, I can see that flying pretty decently. Maybe like a $5 to $10 price range a month, because that seems to be the sweet ground where people are like, oh, it's only $5, it's only $10. If they make it go any higher, people are gonna be like, oh, ew, no, I don't want to play Splatoon online that bad. Which brings me to some other interesting news. Well, Splatoon 2 was announced. I'll get to that in a second. No region locking. We've already kind of known that for a while. It was already announced, I want to say, or leaked or something like that. But if you don't know what region locking means, what region locking means is the Nintendo DS had region locking, but most consoles these days didn't have region locking. Neither did like old school consoles. So it's not like a new idea to be free these systems up with no region locking. What it means is that a region locked console basically is a console that can only play games from that region. So like let's say I have a 3DS and I buy a game from Tokyo, which is in Japan, and I live in the United States. I go over to Japan, buy that game, it won't work on my DS because it's region locked. There's different reasons for this, and it's understandable why companies would region lock because of different laws, whatever, all the kind of stupid crap. But it's nice that they're lifting that again because it's nice to the consumer. I can now buy any game I want online, and it's guaranteed to work as long as the cartridge isn't broken or my DS isn't broken. Well, my Switch isn't broken once I have a Switch, and I can buy it anywhere. That's nice consumer-friendly material right there. So I'm okay with that. That's cool. No real big surprise. Mobile software dev Takahashi Shania Twain was saying he's the mobile software developer. He went over like the different quote-unquote play styles, which we already kind of knew. TV mode, tabletop mode, handheld mode, whatever. It's basically, do you want the Joy-Cons connected to it? Do you want to play on the TV? Different kind of things. But here's the interesting thing. Battery life. This was one big concern that everybody had. I had it because if you're buying the Switch as a handheld, you don't want to be like, yay, I got my Switch, and then like 30 minutes later, it's about to die. Now, that is the problem, because he estimated the battery life at 2.5 hours to 6.5 hours, depending on the games. And that completely makes sense. That's like running my laptop. If I run a real heavy game on my laptop, it's going to eat the battery. If I run maybe something like Minesweeper on it, it's just going to act like nothing's running on it. So it's going to run at the full battery life. So that makes sense. So maybe when you're on the go with the Switch, if you, regardless of the 2.5 battery life for something maybe like Breath of the Wild, you're going to want to like get an extra battery pack or bring that charger with you. Or instead of playing that, play some indie game that doesn't take up so much battery life. Maybe like Shovel Knight, which they're probably going to port. They never announced that. What was that? Something Yacht Games, developer of Shovel Knight, never announced it. But they already released Shovel Knight out on almost every single console So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to release it on the Switch, or at least develop something for the Switch. So that's cool. Now the other cool thing, though, so okay. Well, okay, the battery life thing was kind of a sad thing to hear because I was like, oh man, really, only 2.5 hours on like a real beefy game, but it makes sense. You could bring the charger with you. If I do get the Switch, which I probably will, and I plan to play these like real heavy games on it, probably have to get that extra extended battery pack because I'm going to assume, because it happens a lot with handhelds, that a third party or a first party, company like Nintendo or somebody else, like first for some reason Pelican was the first one that came up to mind. That's a terrible company. But like somebody like them would be like, hey, we designed this battery pack for your Switch, so now it has an extra 5 hours of battery life. That's cool. Might have to invest in that. Oh, yes, that was cool. I forgot about that. Oh, but anywho, let's carry on to what else went down on my list. The local Wi-Fi multiplayer was pretty cool. You could play up to 8 devices at the same time. That's no real surprise right there because the Wii U already does that. But it's nice to hear, and it's crazy. They're really pushing that multiplayer, and definitely the local multiplayer. And I think that's not a bad move because, frankly, usually when people think, Nintendo, they're just like, oh, fun games, fun party games, and being able to play with 8 people at the same time. Oh boy, oh golly, oh boy. So, that's that's a good round of Mario Party or Mario Kart right there. So what was this? The Joy-Cons. Yeah, they went into more detail about the Joy-Cons. And there were a few cool things. You can look at the Joy-Con itself, the controller, like the 2 separate controllers that pop off, and pretty much get the idea of what's going on there. Like 2 extra sets of L and R buttons on each like Joy-Con. So like when you saw in that trailer when 2 people were taking one half of the Joy-Con and playing Mario Kart against each other, they still get their L and R. So that's cool. And there's like a little hand strip thing that actually makes it just a little bit wider. I can see that being more comfortable with people with big hands, kind of like me. But like it just adds a little more size and it adds the wrist strap. That's cool. But okay, so these Joy-Cons, there was something really cool. Now, the motion control. People were wondering about the motion control. They assumed it was going to be there. But the way he was explaining the motion control, this seems like some real advanced junk going on in there. But he was shaking his little Joy-Con and being like, I can tell if there's one glass, and there was like a little one ice cube in the glass, and then add another ice cube. I can tell if there's 2. I can tell if there's 3. I can tell if you filled it up with water, and that's really cool. That's honestly cray to think about, because I remember the days when rumble packs used to just be like a little motor that goes and it's just be like a static vibration. It was cool at the time. I'm not going to knock the rumble pack, but the rumble packs that are in each Joy-Con are pretty insane to think about. If you can get that detail of like feeling and control in each little control, the amount of I suppose immersion just goes doubles or tenfold or doubles, triples, whatever. It's just an analogy, but anyways, that was pretty cool. So like real sensitive gyroscopic sensors in those things, so it can tell if you're tipping it left and right. And there's like a little laser sensor on the bottom, so it can tell exactly how far an object is away from the sensor and all that. It's pretty cool high-tech stuff. I recommend actually watching the presentation. Anyways, I thought that was cool. I'm not sure if anybody else did. I thought it was cool. Now, where was that? Oh, yes. So cheesy. So when people like started doing all these crazy theory videos on the Switch and the NX last year, they were all like, oh, what's this button do? What's that button do? And they found this little square button on the bottom left. If you like chunk everything together, there's a little square button on the bottom left. And they finally announced, like officially announced, I'm not sure if it's been announced earlier or leaked earlier. No, it was leaked earlier. But I want to say by Laura K. Buzz again. But it's a share button, similar to what the Xbox One and PS4 has. And what it does is, he said at the moment, all you can do is take screenshots of your games and share it on your social medias like Twitter, Facebook, whatever, which is very cool. That's very forward thinking. I'm happy to see Nintendo finally do that. Everyone else is. It's nice to see them finally getting into gear of the times and being like, okay, people like sharing their experiences with everybody else. That's the idea of playing multiplayer. So they have that little thing. And he mentioned that it will have video capture at some point in the future. So that's probably going to come around with the update. They probably figured it out, but they just want to like refine it so you don't have any bugs come up in the process, and it's a nice, easy push the button, capture, push it, stop. Without the push the button. Oh, I took a screenshot instead of videoing, taking video footage when I actually wanted to. And just not just a screenshot. So that's pretty cool. That is nice. And he was explaining something about about what made me laugh was he was like, we like to call it. I can't, despite being half Japanese myself, it's a very hot. It's I've done so many bad like impersonations in my time that I can't even do a Japanese accent anymore. So it's what they call it's what we like to call sharing the joy. Sharing the joy. Yeah. Corporatisms. But I thought that was funny. Sharing the joy. That's what they coined it. Release the tension and play. Oh, yeah. You can pop off the Joy-Cons, sit back in a couch. And he actually sat back in a couch that was on the stage and like just relaxed there with the two Joy-Cons in his hand. And I was like, now I can play I can play any game I want, limp and naked on a recliner. And that was my thought. And that's cool. If I want to play just like limp and naked on the couch, play me up some Mario, yeah, I'll do that. Now I have that option. Yeah, the HD Rumble Precision, that's what they called it, or something like that. And then at that point in the presentation, they moved on to like other like third-party companies, and then they started talking about some of their own games and whatever. No. Here we go. Yeah, they started talking about their own personal releases. A Puyo Puyo Tetris crossover PS4 on the Switch. Yes, a few of the games that they mentioned, like first-party games, were this kind of party-ish game that really tries to use you can call it a gimmick, you can call it ingenuity, you can call it whatever, but really use try to use the full effect of the Joy-Cons to try to inspire other developers, basically, to make up their own games. With this one game called 1-2 Switch, which actually looked like a lot of fun. It seems to be like a reaction-based, like, mini-game, party game kind of thing, where each player holds their own Joy-Con, and then they look at each other. And then, depending on, like, probably some rumble action or, like, some sound cue from the Switch itself, they have to react and do something to the other player. So that's cool. I thought that was kind of neat. That's a release, no launch title. So I think that one's good for kids, good for families, good for parties, whatever. You can play that. Another one that they announced that was first party was this game called ARMS, which actually looked pretty fun. Not like a super in-depth game, but the guy was explaining that there is depth to it. Like you can unlock other characters, unlock more combos the more you play. But it's designed in such a way that if you're just a casual gamer, you can pick it up anytime you want and just have fun with it. It's basically a boxing game, but the characters you play, instead of having regular arms, they have like little springy arms that can shoot out. So he was like, it's a mix of a shooting game and a boxing game at the same time because you're shooting your punches. And that seems pretty cool. And he said there's online play coming soon, whatever. Personally, it seemed like a fun Wii-style boxing game with some pretty cool new twists and utilizes the Joy-Cons to their full extent because you got to hold those Joy-Cons like your fists and all that. Splatoon 2 was announced for summer of 2017. New weapons, etc., new maps, online play, and the return of online events, so that's exciting. Anybody that likes Splatoon out there, that's very exciting news. Now, the one game that actually looked pretty cool, but made me giggle at the same time, was the announcement of Super Mario Odyssey coming this holiday season of 2017. That's a ways off, but disregard that. I think they're trying to go for the big, like, Christmas title for that one. But yeah, that one's coming out. It actually looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a giant open worldy type game. Not so much like Mario Galaxy or 3D Land where it's like contained areas. It's more like a massive open world, more along the lines of Super Mario Sunshine or Super Mario 64. At least that's what the guy said, and that's what it looked like. I'm not knocking Mario Galaxy. That's a fine game, an excellent game. 3D Land, I haven't necessarily played it really a whole bunch, but it's pretty good too. But it's a very straightforward platformer. But point is, God, I gotta stop saying that. What was my point? It looks cool. It's very neat. And there's like this, instead of being in the Mushroom Kingdom, they're basically in New York and running through the sewer. He like the trailer opens up with Mario popping up out of the sewer. Like a sewer cap pops off after a taxi drives over it. It's like, yahoo! And it's just probably smells like garbage because it's a New York sewer, and I don't want to imagine how that's going to smell like. But yeah, Mario pops out of the sewer and it's like, yay, with his happy face and jumping around, popping around, and going through different new lands. And it was definitely New York. At least that's what I think it is. Maybe he goes home. Finds the third lost brother. But some funny things I found in that is that the hat, it's revealed at the end of the trailer that it's alive. It's got eyes. It's sentient. And it's eating his brain. No, it's like basically a magic hat that he can throw and kind of do a boomerangy type attack, or throw and do kind of like a Mega Man Rush thing where like he can use it as a platform to jump off of and all that. And that's pretty cool. But first thing that came to my mind was like, magic hat, you're throwing it like a boomerang, that's your attack. Michael Jackson already did that. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Hee hee. Ooh! That was probably loud, and I apologize to anybody wearing headphones. But yeah, I thought that was the only thought that came through my mind, and it kind of made me giggle. Also, Pimp Bowser. Bowser looks like a pimp. That's pretty funny. I'm assuming Princess Peach gets kidnapped. There was one little leak to the storyline where it had like this giant like poster on the side of a building where it's like the royal wedding between Bowser and Peach, and I would assume Mario's trying to stop it. So there you go. Another first-party one that was announced was Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm excited for that. That looked pretty. I couldn't figure out what game it was right off the bat until I saw the dude's sword. I was like, this is probably Xenoblade. That looks like the Xenoblade or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is probably Xenoblade. And he was like, the thing that you just saw was for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I was like, okay, yeah. Well, the title popped up onto it too, so that's pretty cool. And we've already known about this one for maybe a few days, I want to say. At least I've known it for about a few days or a week. Fire Emblem Warriors is being announced. Well, was officially announced at that presentation for anybody that didn't hear about it. It's a team up with Koei Tecmo, so that's pretty cool. Dynasty Warrior games are fun, and if you're into that, look into that, because I want to say a Fire Emblem Dynasty Warriors mishmash should be really good. Should be. There are more than enough characters in Fire Emblem to pull a good roster from. So the other thing the guy announced was alongside Dragon Quest 10 and 11, they're going to be coming out with Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 as one certain game. 10 and 11 are separate games, but Dragon Quest Heroes 1 plus 2 is 1 and 2 combined as one game. So that actually looks pretty cool and sounds pretty neat. And I can't guarantee that it's an exclusive because it is Squeenix. At the same time, I kind of hope it is, only for the sake of the Switch, because it seems like it'd be a good solid title to have. Oh, what was it? Oh, I saw Atlas pop up, and I was like, oh, Atlas! Because they make some of the best RPGs out there. So y'all should go check that out if you don't know the company Atlas. Atlas, being produced by Sega, essentially announced their next Shin Megami Tensei, which I want to say I already heard of recently, so that's not really new news. But the one that was really cool, and release date hasn't been announced, it seems to be like the art style looks to be like a Final Fantasy Tactics type style from the PlayStation era, but this thing called Project Octopath Traveler, where you decide your fate or your adventure, and I was like, a Final Fantasy style Squeenix game where choices matter. That seems interesting, and I'm gonna look into that a little bit more. If I can pull up some good information on it, I'll let you all know in the next podcast. But there was no release date set for it, so I wouldn't assume that's gonna be coming anytime soon. Like when I say soon, the next 5 months. If it comes out this year, I'd be surprised. But I'm gonna have to really look into that. Just hazarding like a willy-nilly guess, I'm gonna say if it comes out this year, it's coming out in the holiday season. But if you're into RPGs, Project Octopath Traveler by Squeenix. That seems to be pretty interesting. It's a new IP, so it should be pretty cool. And if it seems like I'm not very hyped right now, I've let myself quiet down a bit, because after watching the new Zelda trailer, I was like, oh, it gave me chills. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so herped. I'm so herped. So yeah. Just letting all know. Just trying to get through all this information real fast. Other release info that was announced: Bethesda announced Sega. It was no. It was the translator for No More Heroes 2 that sucked. But yeah, No More Heroes 2 is coming out on the Switch. That should be pretty neat. That's gonna be cool. If you don't know the game series No More Heroes, it's not really kid friendly. It first popped up on the Wii, and then it came to other consoles later. But it's kind of a cult classic. Go check it out. Sega had their own little presentation. They're like, we make a games for you, and it should be good. We are excited for the Switch. They didn't really say anything. It was pretty pointless for Sega to be up there. But they do have a couple games that I am excited for. And I'll get to that in a second. Well, okay, so Bethesda came on and officially announced that Skyrim will be coming to the Switch at to be announced a date. So it's probably not a release title. Let's not get our hopes up here. It might be a summer title. It might be a holiday title. I don't know. I'm sure they're going to wait for E3 to be like, here's some footage of Skyrim, a game that's 10 years old. Been remastered 3 times, 5 times. I have no idea how many times it's been remastered. I don't necessarily keep track of those kind of stats. But they're probably going to announce it on E3. But Skyrim on a handheld is just an awesome idea, and I'm all up for that. Don't think I'm not. I like the idea of remasters because it brings good games to a new audience that probably never played it earlier in the days when it first came out. EA came up and announced FIFA, and all the children rejoiced. Then the trailer came up, and I wrote down a giant. I played the trailer really slowed down the YouTube footage so I can try to catch out as many games as possible. And then I realized that they just showed a bunch of the trailers to the games on the Nintendo website a little bit later, but that's not the point. So some games I found that don't have trailers or do were Bomberman R by Konami, and I'm really hoping they don't screw that up. It's Konami. I'm really hoping they don't screw it up. I love the Bomberman series. Pat the NES punk tweeted out that he's excited, but he would have much rather would rather have had Bonk be remade into a new game, and I agree with them. If you don't know the Bonk series, it's a silly game, but it is fun. But yes, Bomberman is coming out, and that should be pretty cool with 8 players all playing at the same time. That should be really cool. I saw a little bit of the Telltale Minecraft series, Skylanders, Rayman, Lego, Dragon Ball, farming simulator. I want to say I saw Disgaea in there, so that should be, if I think it is Disgaea, that should be pretty cool. Just Dance, Sonic, Virtual Console. It was Street Fighter 2, Tetris, Puyo Pop, Crossover, actual Minecraft, NBA 2K, and Mario Kart. So but as I said before, a few of those trailers already popped up on the Nintendo website, and you can go check them out. Nintendo YouTube channel. You can go check those out. That's pretty cool. The new Zelda trailer is up. A Mario Kart 8 Deluxe trailer is up. That looks cool. The Bomberman R trailer is up, and that looks cool. But let's not get too excited because it's Konami. You know, I have a bad feeling they're gonna mess it up somehow. And yes, Bomberman is such a simple recipe to make an awesome game, but it's the I just have I just got this bad gut feeling that something might go wrong with that because it's Konami. Sonic, the new Sonic game called Sonic Mania, and then I realized, wait, I've already heard about this, and I want to say I've seen a trailer for this. It might have been E3 of 2016. So I wasn't like super excited, but it spurred on my like, oh baby, a new Sonic. Yeah, and then I was like, yeah. But it's like a classic 2D. It goes back to its roots and looks and plays like the classic 2D Sonics with some added moves. So that might actually really be really good. If it's anything like Generations, it should be really good. I think Sonic Team is slowly figuring out that they've messed up so many times that they can look at all those mess ups and be like, okay, we thought those were good ideas, but they're really not. Let's do this again, you know? So maybe Sonic Mania will be like the next Sonic Generations and be just freaking awesome. I'm really hoping it is, because I root for Sega. Now, another game that tickled my bones because I forgot to mention it in part 1. Another type of game series that I love, like game genre, are like arcade-like puzzle games, like Tetris or Dr. Mario or Puyo Puyo or Tetris Attack. I love the Puzzle Fighter. I love all those games so much because it's not. I don't know. They're fun. They're an easy pick up and play. At the same time, if I want to just sit down and relax, I could play it for like a good hour without getting really bored. I can just play with myself against the computer, and just veg out with classic puzzle games. But Puyo Puyo, Tetris have come together for like a Puyo Puyo versus Tetris. And if this is the direction that some puzzle games are going, I want to see this more. This seems like a brilliant idea, and I don't know why they never did this before. But it's like it's like you got the little Puyo Puyo beads with Tetronymos coming down at the same time, and then you've got like multiplayer action. Like they didn't show any 8-player action, but they showed like 4 people playing against each other at the same time. I'm gonna assume they might do 8 people going on at the same time, which brings me to a small random game, Raining Blobs, on Steam. That if you like these kind of games, look up Raining Blobs. Now, at first glance, Raining Blobs is going to be like, you're going to think to yourself, oh, is this some anime bull crap? But no, it's not. Give it a shot. Yeah, like really give it a shot. It's really good. You can play against 8 people. Whether you're going to find an online match, that's really up in the air because no one's playing it. But you could do local multiplayer, and that kind of saves its multiplayer options. But the AI is actually pretty hard too, so you can have enough like challenge just going up against the computer. It's really good. But damn, I am excited for that. I think that there was no mention of Pokemon Stars, but I think my my most anticipated game of 2017 is going to be Puyo Puyo Tetris. Yes, that's my. I'm gonna mock up a list for the next episode and be like, all right, these are my most anticipated games of 2017, and make that the topic of the next time's podcast, which will probably come up in like 2 weeks. But yeah, that's basically the conference. There wasn't a whole lot of talk. They didn't talk about the VR. They didn't talk about the processor and the specs. I think they wanted to stay away from that. And I think that was a good idea because, frankly, even for something like the Switch, because it is a hybrid, like handheld. It can't have the best specs, or else you're going to be destroying the battery, which it already kind of is with, because it does have HD. So they didn't really cover that. So, at this point, people, like I said before, people are going to be giving out their Nintendo doomed prophecies. But the way it looks right now, I think the Nintendo Switch will be good when it comes out. I think it might do pretty well when it comes out too. So, I'm excited. I'm hyped for that Puyo Puyo Tetris. I don't remember if I actually got a release date on that. I'm gonna have to look that up because I am excited about that. I love those games, and Puyo Puyo is like it's my mom's favorite game, but it's also one of my all-time favorite puzzle games. It's a video that I've been wanting to make on my YouTube channel was my top 10 favorite puzzle games of all time. Like arcade puzzle games. Another thing was Tetris Ultimate Alternatives on Steam, because I actually found a bunch of them, because I was like, well, everyone's saying Tetris Ultimate is crap and it runs like garbage. So I was like, man, I'm going to look around to see if I can find anything else that's just like it or plays similar to it that can tickle that itch of Tetris, wanting Tetris, but not having to pay like $15 only to have it not work or lag to all crap. So, and I did. I actually found some pretty good stuff. And I might cover that next time here on the Pongcast. So, how do I cut these kind of things off? Because I'm looking at the time right now, and this is going to be a very long episode. I need to like reformat this thing because I don't want to be posting like 2-hour podcasts. Nobody wants to listen to that. If you do, leave your comments down below. Okay? Obviously, I can talk for this long. At the same time, do you really want to hear me talk for this long? Because like right now, I'm not super like caffeinated or awake, and it may not be the best idea to record at this time. Anyways, what do you think? Let me know, please. If I can improve on anything, let me know. But before I forget, like I did at the beginning of this podcast, I want to give out a big, huge special thanks to my buddy and bro, ZBW Music. He's technically part of my small connected confederacy of... I'm saying confederacy, not because, I'm a South will rise again. It's like the way it's organized. It's actually a confederacy because it's all independent groups, all working, Anyways, the Imaginary Gamer group, he's technically part of it. And he's the one that's bumping these smooth tracks that you're hearing at the break and in the beginning and at the end. So yeah, I'll leave links down below to his SoundCloud and his YouTube channel and his Twitch channel because he does Twitch as well. So yeah, go check out my stuff, go check out the rest of the Imaginary Gamers, and go check out ZBW. They're all pretty cool. Go check them out. We don't all do video game related material like Birdie Berry doesn't. She's actually my sister, but she does like kind of more artsy and film stuff. So go check that out if you're into that. Anywho, for any locals that live near me in Oregon, go check out Tea Time with Trent Chalmers if you like sports. Yeah, see, it's an eclectic group that does everything. So yeah, anything entertainment related. I think that's the end of the podcast. I think I'm done. No, I forgot to mention the game of the week. Well, let's get that done real fast. Heroes Never Lose, Professor Puzzler's Perplexing Ploy, and Handsome Mr. Frog. Because Handsome Mr. Frog is musicked by ZBW Music. So yes, there's a little bit bias for me promoting that. And full disclosure, I want to be as transparent as possible. I'm pumping that because he made the music for it. But what's funny is that I played the game and I loved it, and I didn't realize he was a part of it. It was on super sale, and I bought it like every other, like 90% of the games I buy on Steam, I buy them on sale, like crazy but cheap. And I was like, it seems like an old school arcadey game that I like, that kind of style, very like 80s, very 80s, but seems pretty solid enough for me to validate its purchase. And I bought it, and I was like, oh, actually, this game is pretty fun. I think my kids will like it too. And it's a nice, easy, casual pick-up-and-play arcade-style game. Handsome Mr. Frog. Go play it. You play a frog, and you spit things at enemies. It's kind of like a mix of Bubble Bobble. Really, it feels more like Bubble Bobble. in that respect. They take a lot of ideas from Bubble Bobble. And the levels are a little bit randomized. They're pre-made, so it's not completely random. It's not like a roguelite or anything. But in some sense, it can be considered a roguelite because it's randomized. It's fun. It's cheap. At least give it a look. You don't have to play it. But if you do like old school, if you do like puzzle games like myself, you should also go check out Heroes Never Lose, Professor Puzzler's Perplexing Ploy. Now, I'm not connected with a developer, so this is just my own personal plug of Game of the Week. It's a newer game, just like Handsome Mr. Frog, available on Steam, and I'm not sure if it's on console. It might be. If it is, it might be on PS4. I don't know. I haven't actually really looked. But it is available on Steam. It plays basically just like Super Puzzle Fighter, if you know that game. Super Puzzle Fighter Turbo or whatever. Now, that's an old series from the late 90s, but it's hard to explain because you're dropping blocks and you got to connect the blocks to make combos, and you have special little energy balls that can break them, and you can set up combos that way, break down the blocks. It's basically a block breaker, kind of like a Dr. Mario meets Tetris type deal. So you got to kind of plan out your moves. What makes this different from the original Puzzle Fighter is that each playable character has their own power-ups. And it's a very, a cheesy parody comic book superhero thing. So if you're into that, that's another little thing to go check out. It's pretty fun. The AI, they've beefed it up. The first time I picked it up, it's still in early access. The whole thing is still in early access. But there have been updates since the first time I picked it up and now. So they are working on it. That's good news for them and good news for you as a consumer, because you don't want to be picking up some early access title that's never going to get finished. That's stupid. And everybody does that on Steam, and I can understand why you're like, oh, it's early access, don't want to buy that. But they are updating it. So at some point, I can trust that they're probably going to do a full release when they're finally done with all the different characters and updates and everything, fixing the bugs. And they might have actually taken some of my advice, unless a whole bunch of other people were saying it. But I mentioned somewhere, on the discussion boards, I want to say, is that it was too easy. The AI, when I first played it, was too easy. I could just blast right through it. Now when I play it, they have a harder mode, and the characters are actually a lot harder to play against. So that's pretty cool. I'm really good at these type of games. So if I'm struggling on the hard difficulty, you will too. Unless for some reason you're just god moding everything and you're just ha 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 la 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 la, just pulling combos left and right. That's Game of the Week. Anywho, that's about it. This podcast is way too long. I'm gonna have to revamp everything. But stay tuned next time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for bearing with me on this pilot. And Sensei Pong signing out. Like and subscribe.